This week, Indigenous advocate and former youth prisoner Keenan Mundine addressed the UN Human Rights Council to call for an end to youth detention under the age of 14. To discuss this and other topics, we're talking now with City of Sydney Councillor Angela Vathoukas and CEO of Youth Action, Katie Atchison. Thanks so much, both of you, for coming in. Katie, I might start with you. What's this policy having an impact on kids now? How's it having an impact?
600 kids under the age of 14 in detention right now, and I think particularly as it's the beginning of NAIDOC week, it's so important for us to understand the implications that this is having, particularly on the Indigenous community, with such a huge percentage of children, of those children being locked up, being Aboriginal. I mean, in Northern Territory, 100% of the kids that are in prison are Aboriginal. It is a bigger issue than just talking about we need to do something about kids in crime. This is a much bigger systemic issue about what's going on about so many Aboriginal young people being locked up. So I think this is an amazing opportunity for Australia to actually do what they said that they would do when they got on the Human Rights Commission and put Aboriginal and Indigenous issues first. And I think one of the first things that they could do is reduce or increase the rate of criminal responsibility to 14. I mean, that's a bare minimum that we need to get to. 16 would probably be better, but 14 is much better than 10.
Angela, what's your take on that? Because we heard from Keenan Mundine, who he said he spent half his life behind bars. And he talks about criminalising behaviour of young, vulnerable children. So is this part of the answer of raising that age of criminal responsibility?
I think it must be, although I have to admit that I am was one of those ill-informed people. I saw some stats. You immediately think, well, there are kids who do the wrong thing, do horrible wrong things, and probably that's why they're incarcerated. But once you have a look and you peel away these layers, and I'm ashamed to say that I looked at the infographic, and when I saw that 42 times more likely that an Indigenous child will be locked up in South Australia, when you start looking at those stats, there are other reasons there, and clearly these kids, because they are children, are being locked up for many other reasons, and they are not because of what they did. There needs to be a better support framework. We have to relook at these things. This week, the beginning of NAIDOC week, is an ideal time to look at it, but there are so many of us out there who are not aware of this. We need to get the information, the message out there.